Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Destined Discussions. We have Zeina Doparella with us today. And Zeina is a special friend of mine. We met in pageantry.
Yep.
And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the quote that she sent to us. Can you share what that quote was, Zeina?
My quote was that ultimately it's going to be up to God, but it's your job to plant the seeds, all the options that He sends you. It's your job to plant these seeds.
I love it. I love it. And I want to dig in more to that as far as, tell us what you mean about what you say when you say seeds. Like, what kind of seeds are we talking about when you're saying we're planting those seeds in the world today? But before we get into that, I just want to I just want to brag on you a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Zeina is a fellow teacher, so we both are educators in the education system. She also founded My Fairy Sisters Project, which is a project with a mission to raise awareness for neglected children, mainly those who are waiting to be adopted. And in addition to that, you just ran for Mrs. America, and then you won.
I won the Miss Wisconsin for America Strong, and then I competed at nationals for Miss for America, where I placed top six.
Yes. Thank you for helping me with that. So we are just going to talk about a little bit about your background. So can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and how did you wind up in Wisconsin? And then also what led you to compete for that organization?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Lebanon. My dad worked for the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, so when he retired, we got the green cards, and we came here, and I was 20 years old. Um, After that, it was to each their own. I was on my own, trying to find a new life here in Wisconsin. We have a family friend who owns a landscaping business who lives in Mequon, and that's how I ended up here. And here I am, 2 kids later, uh, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, a bachelor's, a master's, and a math major, a book, an NFT, and a title.
Wow,
So
that's a lot.
here I
Let
am.
me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. So you have girls or boys?
I have 2 boys,
How old are they?
11 and 7, Ethan and Julian.
Okay, nice. I have two boys too, so we're both boy moms. I actually
Yep.
prayed and hoped for a girl, and God gave me boys. So ultimately, you're right. It's up to God, right?
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey to become a author?
Yes. I've always, told my kids bedtime stories on the spot, and I've been encouraged to write stories because I was told I was good at it, but I really never had the chance because I was not inspired. I didn't know what to write about until I met my student who was in a group home. She had a rough life. Her parents were deceased, and she lived with her grandma who was abusive. And that's how I started my Fairy Sisters project, looking into kids in group homes. And so I wrote this book based on her life, to give hope for kids who are in foster care. And I call this book My Fairy Sisters, Leo and Bear. Her nickname was Bear, and so that's where Bear comes from. It's not the animal, it's her. And the fairies are the people who help us every single day of our lives. Your family is not necessarily the people who help you. Some people don't have moms and dads that are their rocks, but God does send someone to help you if you speak up and say what you want.
Oh my God, I so love that. I love that personally because I was in foster care. I never had to experience the to the degree of being adopted, but I spent about 7 years in foster care from the time that I was maybe 7 up to 14, and then I moved back in with my mom. So my heart is really open for that, and I'm so glad and thankful that God inspired you, and this student inspired you to go ahead and write this book. And the thing about that, what I love is that you weren't even thinking about that. I mean, you knew
No.
that it was in you, but it took an experience to really pull that out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing. So, where can people find this book?
Well, you can buy it from me personally for $20, or you can go on Amazon Kindle and buy it for $9.99.
Awesome. Now, does like part of the proceeds go to any organization? Does it go back to your
Yeah,
organization?
I would like to raise as much money as I can from this book to give a scholarship to a student in a group home. Some of these kids don't leave their group homes and have nowhere to go, no money, and they probably will not even attempt going to college. So I would like to help uh, as much as I can with them to start their college career.
Okay, sounds great. And so I think that can lead us right into the talk about, or the discussion about, the seed planting,
Right.
right? So tell us what you mean, because it sounds like you are doing the work to plant certain seeds. It seems like you're planting some of those seeds that you're referring to as it relates to, you know, these are things that we need to do when we're here in the world. So can you share more about how other people can understand that seed planting concept, and then how they can really hone in on it, and make it become a part of their life?
As little kids, we always have dreams. I always wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to have two boys. I always wanted to be a beauty queen. Um,
Wow. Girl, you
yes,
accomplished everything you wanted.
and that's what I'm getting at. And I always wanted to be an author, and I always wanted to be a businesswoman. And but what I did was I always pushed my dreams to the side because there was a point in my life where people were telling me, you know, I'm not good enough to be a beauty queen. I'm not pretty to be a beauty queen. And there was a point in my life where I failed eighth grade, and I couldn't imagine being a teacher if you're failing and being held back. So you have to pray a lot, and I prayed a lot. And after I had my setbacks, it always felt like after I have a setback, God lifts me up to where I need, to what I prayed for. It's like He's telling me, hey, do you remember you prayed for this? So I pushed my dreams on the side to be married. I was married for 10 years, and I was a housewife. I was secondary to our marriage. He came first, so his dreams came first. So when when things didn't work out between us, I sat down, I wrote down everything that I always wanted to do. And I never imagined that at 36 years old, that now looking back, that I did accomplish. I competed with girls that were 20 years old. We had a girl that was 18. I competed with girls so much younger than me, and I still placed top six. And I have a book under my belt like I always wanted. I did this in 8 months. I created the book. I won Miss Wisconsin. I placed top six, and I did my NFT, and I did that in 8 months. People think I'm rich, and I tell them no, I'm not rich. I just started, guys. I just started. I was just focused. Once I had time for myself, I focused, and there were times where, especially when I don't have my kids, because I share custody 50-50, when I don't have them, this is a very much of a downtime for me. I feel um, I start setting back, and I want to hide, and I don't feel very motivated. And I say, God, please do not let the devil win. Just keep me up, keep me good for my kids. And then something happens. Someone calls me about my fairy systems. I get a notification that people are following me. Something like little signs like that that tells me that God's want me to keep moving.
Absolutely. I so love that, mainly because it actually reminds me of my story. Because, well, first of all, I didn't, first, never in my mind thought I wanted to be a beauty queen. And actually, it's crazy because when I entered and joined pageantry, I didn't even look at it as a beauty pageant, which is very weird. But I kind of just I don't even know what I was thinking about as far as what it was. And then when I started really getting off into it, and people started saying, "Oh, you're a beauty queen," I'm thinking like, "Oh, that's really what this is." Okay. So I never really looked at it in that way. But then on top of that, I know that I had prayed for a very long time, and you know, in that I was asking God to show me what it was He wanted me to do and add value to the world. And one day I remember vividly hearing the Lord say to me, like, you are a writer. And I was like, okay. And I wrote that down because I used to write out prayers like every week or every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And my prayers actually turned into my book. And it wasn't until I completed the book that I knew that God told me to do that I won Mrs. Wisconsin. So your story so reminds me of that, because it's like, I feel like once we do what it is that God is really leading us to do is when we really can tap into the the fruit of our labor, so to speak.
Well, speaking of pageants and just being a beauty queen, I did not realize how much it has nothing to do, or I shouldn't say nothing to do, not much to do with the outer appearance to be a beauty queen until I entered the pageant system and I realized it is not just about your looks. There is no way you're going to win just because of your looks. It's who you are as a person, your heart, your kindness, your giving, your natural, authentic self. And until you get to a certain point in your life where you feel comfortable to serve and you're ready to serve and be there for others, that's when you will be a beauty queen, in my opinion.
I would definitely have to agree with you on that. Like, wholeheartedly, I agree. Um, and so I guess my next question is, like, what do you think? What was that thing? What was that one thing that said to you, I'm gonna enter a pageant? What was it?
I was sitting in my classroom during my prep time, and I was just kind of choking thinking about my life. It was the week where I did not have my kids, and that school that I was in was not very good, and I just felt trapped. So I Googled, someone nicknamed me Miss Facebook once on Facebook. So that put a spark in my head. And like, I always want to be a beauty queen. Wait, there's a Miss Wisconsin for unmarried women and divorced women, people my age. So I looked it up and I was still in my prep period. And I called Natalie Boyd. I said, I want to enter the pageant. And then I called my family and I said, guess what? I just entered the pageant. And everyone laughed. Everyone laughed at me. They were like, no way, what is wrong with you? Like, you're too old, you're divorced, you have two kids. I absolutely did not listen to anyone, obviously. And I just kept going through it. My first year I competed, I got first runner up. In my second year I competed, I won. And I think I know what the difference is between getting first runner up and winning. If you want me to tell you, you want me to tell you?
Well, yeah, you can, but I actually want you to kind of share a little bit about what made you keep going, even though you had people all around you that were not necessarily encouraging you to keep this thing up. What was it in you that said, I'm gonna do this?
It was ultimately I just decided it's been all my life that I listened to others and I wanted to do what pleases others, and it got me to misery. It got me to a dead end, and I felt like at this point in my life, what do I have to lose? The two most important people in my life, I see half the time now. The marriage that I thought was going to last forever broke down. So what do I have to lose? And I did not care what everyone was saying. Like, I already lost because I deviated from where I'm supposed to be. And I truly believe that um, God wanted me to be here. He heard me every single night praying for him about the things that I want. And this time, I'm not gonna not take the boats that he sent me. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
it.
The
Yes,
lifeboat. He
yes,
sent me lifeboats. I gotta take them. I gotta look and take them.
yes. I absolutely agree. I think that a lot of times when we live our lives to please others, or thinking that, oh, I have to be what they want me to be in order to stay, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get to that point where you're like, I just want to be happy. And it sounds like that's the
Exactly.
transformation that took place in your life. And I'm really encouraged to hear that. And I want to know, what is it something, because I heard you say that you've been divorced, and that played a major key factor in basically you deciding, I got to take control of my life.
Right.
So I'm wondering, what advice would you give a woman who's experiencing something like that right now?
Uh, well, first of all, I want to say you don't have to be married by the time you're 20 years old. You don't have to have kids by a certain age. Don't let anyone tell you that. Um, for me, if you think, you have to own yourself, you have to know who you are before you get married. Don't drag someone into a relationship when you don't know who you are. I always thought that my place was going to be secondary because I wasn't sure if I am able to accomplish my dreams. I did not have the confidence. So when I got married, I did whatever my ex-husband told me to do, and I supported him in his dreams, and I saw him flourish. And after all this support, um, our marriage failed, and I felt like I was put in the back corner after everything that I've done to help him. And that kind of made me want to fight back for myself. Like, now I need to fight for myself, because if I was able to help him get to where he needed to be, then it's my turn to get myself to where I needed to be. And so that was the point in my life where I was like, no, I think I love myself more than anyone. I got nothing to lose, and it's time to work on my dreams. And not until you know who you are, that's when you should get married. I changed a lot since I got married when I was 23 years old. If I met him now, I would not look at him. I have, I've changed a lot as a woman, um, from my 20s to my 30s. So I just can't imagine families encouraging their young girls to get married in their 20s. It still happens. I think maybe it's my culture as well.
Mhm. I was just going
Um,
to ask,
yeah,
like, is that part of the culture? Is what kind of is expected of
that
young?
is, yeah, you're expected to be married by a certain age. Otherwise, you're going to be talked about. It's going to be frowned upon. If you don't if you don't have kids, it's going to be frowned upon. If in some areas, if you don't have a boy, it's going to be frowned upon.
I guess my question is, how do you feel about speaking out about your culture and saying, "Hey, this is what we're telling our young girls, but I don't agree." Like, how do you feel about that? Do you
I feel
feel?
very empowered. I feel very blessed that God gave me this opportunity to be in this position where I can say that without fear.
Yes.
And I am very, um, I always call Wisconsin my foster home, because even though I was born and raised in Lebanon, I feel like Wisconsin fostered me, and I grew up here. I learned a lot here, things that I would have never experienced back home. I have opportunities that I would have never had back home. And I call Wisconsin my home now, because this is where I belong, and I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that I was given here. And that's why I feel blessed that I am able to go back and say to the girls in my country, do what you want. You don't have to listen to anyone, and follow your heart. What I say to
Mhm.
myself, follow your fire. There's always this fire in you, in the back of your head. You got to follow that.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. That's so good, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so appreciative to even have this opportunity to share this space with you, to share, your values, your beliefs, and what you've gone through, and how it really made you the woman that you are today. I'm actually getting kind of teary eyed because
You're making
I
me feel it.
because I really remember first meeting you, and to see the transformation over that time. And it hasn't even been a long time. It's been maybe what, a couple of
No.
years.
Yes.
Over those 2 years, it's like,
Yes.
I am so happy for you. I'm so proud of you, and I thank God that He put you in this position as well. And I guess the one thing that I would like you to share before we go, because we're running short on time, but what I want you to share is, if there was one thing, just one, that you could tell your younger self and all the other young girls that will be probably watching this video in years to come, what would that be?
I would definitely say to myself, and I've been writing about this on my Fairy Sisters Facebook page lately, um, there's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. That's what I would tell myself. And every other girl, there is nothing wrong with you. If people are telling you there is something wrong with you, there is something wrong with them. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So thank you so much for that. Is there anything else before we go that you would like to leave with us? Maybe your favorite scripture, maybe what it is that your next endeavor that you think that God is leading you on, or anything else that you would like to share?
Yes, first I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my faith and share my journey and my story. Um, I would also like to share that when you are in a point in your life where you're losing your faith, just remember, because I used to say that, God, why are you doing this to me? And then I called a friend of mine and I said, why is God doing this to me? And he said, remember, this is not God doing this to you. There is the devil. So he said, if you want to pray to God, because that was in a point in my life where I had lost faith. And I used to go to church every Sunday and I stopped. And because of the things that were happening to me, and I said, I don't know why God is doing this to me. He must not love me. And then I learned to change the way I pray. And I would ask God, please do not let the devil win. And it's kind of like a magical sentence. When you deep in your heart show God that you have faith in him and you trust him, but you know someone else is fighting you and you want God on your side, you have to speak up. You got to tell God, I want you by my side and I want you to fight for me. And that is why I feel like I've been able to accomplish everything I wanted to in less than a year, is because I changed the way I pray. And I
Mhm.
have so much faith right now. And I really hope anyone who's going through something right now to remember it is not God. God is on your side. God is love. Just look for the signs he sends you, look for the lifeboats he sends you, and take it, because he's going to take you where you need to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. Such powerful words from a very powerful queen, and I appreciate you. And so, with that being said, I just want to share, if anyone wants to connect with Zeina, can you tell us how we can connect with you and keep in touch with you? Give us your Facebook handles, social media handles, website.
I'm all over social media. Just look up Zeina Doparella. You'll see me on Twitter. I'm new to Twitter. That's because of my NFT. I was told this is where the NFT world is. I'm on Facebook, Zeina Doparella, Instagram, Zeina Doparella. I have a separate My Fairy Sisters page on Facebook as well. If you can please like it and follow it. This is where I share my thoughts and beliefs and stories about foster care and what do we need help with. And I have an upcoming holiday gift drive coming up. I do events and fundraisers, so that's where I put all my information on my Fairy Sisters page on Facebook.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time and your share. And all of my viewers, I want to just thank you so much for returning to another episode of Destined Discussions. You've seen it here, Zeina Davarella. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, bye.
Bye.
All right, Queens, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Destined Discussions. Once again, I like to believe that I've been purposely adorned. My message to you is always adorn yourself with purpose. Until next time.